Hello. Um, right now, it's around 11 p.m. here on Monday night in Bangkok. In about, I guess, 5 hours, a car is going to come to take me to the airport, where at 7 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to hop on a plane that is then going to land in San Francisco at around 7 a.m. on Tuesday also. Right now, it's around 8 a.m. On Monday morning in San Francisco. San Francisco is the city of my heart. It's a city that fills my heart with joy and love, and also manages to find ways to break my heart a little every day, but it never lets me forget anymore that I am alive. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I hope to bring back with me, I guess, from Thailand, not in the physical sense, but more emotionally and spiritually, because I think that there are certain traps and pitfalls that I could easily kind of fall into, that I don't want to fall into. You know, I want to take back positive things and good things from this trip. You know, I guess the one big thing that I want to avoid doing, if I can, to the extent that I can. Anyway, I don't think I can avoid it entirely, but, you know, to whatever extent that I can avoid it is to avoid kind of falling into the trap of dwelling on the past. You know, I'm well into my 30s right now, and it's easy for me sometimes to kind of go down this spiral of thinking about or asking myself questions like, how different, you know, how would my life be different today if I'd had facial feminization surgery when I was 30 or 25 or 21, or if I'd, you know, if I'd been able to transition when I was in high school, you know, if that had been available to me, or whatever, on and on and on. And, you know, I think it's okay to kind of grieve for the past and to say, you know, it hurts that there's this time that in a sense was lost to you, and because of that there are these experiences that, you know, you won't really get to have. But you know, there's a difference between kind of grieving for that and then, as much as possible, kind of letting it go and then living in the moment that you have right now and that might be wonderful, and remaining trapped in that cycle of thinking about, oh, you know, I lost all this time, I didn't get to do this, I didn't get to do that, I'll never know what it's like to be a woman in college, you know, or whatever. And similarly, along those same lines, it's important not to fall into the trap of comparing myself too much with others, of looking at other people, other cisgender women or other transgender women. You know, it's easy for me to look at other transgender women and say things like, oh, hormone treatment was so much more effective for her than it was for me. She has this kind of natural female beauty about her, or her voice sounds so much more natural than mine does. You know, it's because again, those aren't productive emotions, and they're not going to bring me any closer to anything real and good, you know? It's hard to accept sometimes, but it's also important, I think, that I try to accept that I am who I am today because of the particular path that my life has taken. And you know, to whatever extent that I can make peace with that, and to say, and to just live in the moment that I have right now, you know, that's a good thing for me to do. And I'm going to try to do that, and try to, you know, that's something that I've sort of tried to cultivate, I guess, within myself in the time that I've had here in Thailand. And of course it's not, I haven't achieved some sort of state of enlightenment. I'm not going to be able to, like, maintain that. I mean, I'm a deeply flawed person. I get jealous, and I get hurt, and I want things that I can't have, and so on and so forth, you know, but yeah, just trying to, like, be grateful that I've been able to have this experience, and that my transition is progressing along as it is, so it's certainly not over, and, you know, and just be grateful for the opportunities in my life that are opening up to me as my journey moves forward, and to live in this moment and not focus on the moments that I didn't really get to live in. And, you know, if you read my Tumblr at all, which is at agameofme.tumblr.com, agameofme, all one word, agameofme.tumblr.com, you'll notice that a constant theme on there, the big theme of that Tumblr is love. And in my last video, I said that that this, you know, facial feminization surgery is something that I did for me. And that's true, you know, as far as it goes, but it's an incomplete sentiment, because for me, what I realized recently, not that recently, but at a certain point in my journey, is that transition for me, it's something that it's a process in which I really need to focus on myself and dealing with things within myself, but the ultimate aim of that is so that I can live a more authentic life, a more true, honest, authentic life, so that I can more authentically and truly and deeply connect with others, because it's really only ultimately, I mean, I think, our connections with others that really give this life whatever meaning it might have, right? So it would be, if I were in complete isolation, I don't know that it would have much purpose, but you know, the goal is to more truly be myself, both for myself and so that I can more fully connect with other people. And so on that note, you know, just as I have to avoid falling into the trap of dwelling on things in the past that you know, I didn't get to experience, so too I need to avoid falling into the trap of creating, like, concrete expectations of what the future is going to look like or is going to hold, you know. if you have stumbled upon these videos, there's a very good chance that you know that I write about video games for a living. And one of my favorite games of the past few years, a game that I think is absolutely brilliant, is called Spelunky. And I think that Spelunky is absolutely full of life lessons, and I'm not kidding when I say that. I honestly believe this to be true. So Spelunky is a game of adventure, and it's an exceptionally difficult game. It is a game in which you absolutely will fail, time and time and time and time again, and your only hope of victory in Spelunky is to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and carry on. And you know, take what you've learned from your failures and apply it on the next run, and you know, and fail again, and just repeat the process of losing and learning and losing and learning and losing and learning until you ultimately will experience at least the occasional brush with a kind of success. And you know, one thing I've noticed when playing Spelunky is that if I have a run in Spelunky that's going pretty well, like, you know, say I get the jetpack, I get tons of bombs, I have all kinds of equipment that's going to be super helpful, or should be super helpful in my progress, I start to see visions in my head of my desired success. Like, I see myself already kind of beating the boss and winning the game. But even on these promising runs, these runs that seem like they're just going great, 9 times out of 10, ultimately I end up you know, falling on some spikes and dying instantly, or, you know, a spider that I didn't notice falls from the ceiling and kills me, or, you know, I die in any of the infinite number of ways that Spelunky has to kill me. And that image, the failure is more painful because I've created an image of victory. You know, if I am just in the moment and I'm playing along and, you know, working toward a goal, you know, applying what I've learned and definitely, you know, having an idea of what it is that I'm working towards and what it is that I want, but without setting kind of concrete expectations of what that's going to look like. Death is and failure in Spelunky is far less painful, you know, if I can avoid creating those kinds of images. Which is very difficult for me to do. My brain wants to start celebrating early. It wants to start thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be great. You know, everything's, you know, going our way. We're going to make it this time. To not set those kinds of expectations is, I think, wise. I don't know. I feel like that's true of life too, you know, and so I'm trying to remember that, you know, life and love and this whole crazy human experience that we're all in together, it's not easy for any of us, you know, whether you're cisgender or transgender, it's not easy. And so, you know, the fact that I've had facial feminization surgery, I think, can be a big help in my life in terms of helping me feel more connected to myself, and that in turn can help me feel more connected to others. But that doesn't mean that things are going to be easy or that everything's just going to fall into place. And still, you know, 9 times out of 10 in the figurative spelunky game of life, I am going to fall on spikes, and it's going to hurt like hell, and I'm going to have to kind of pick myself up and dust myself off and carry on. You know, and just to, you know, I don't know. There's another really brilliant game from last year called The Stanley Parable, and that game reminds us that the end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Now, you know, one important difference between Spelunky and life is that in Spelunky you have infinite chances. You know, the game's going to be a little different every time. The challenges you face are going to be a little different, or a lot different. But you can always push start again and give it another go. And in life, it's not, at least from in my opinion, chances are very limited indeed. You know, when it comes to love, there are very, very, very few people on this planet, I think, who can inspire feelings of you know, of love in me. I think my standards are exceptionally high, and the number of people out there who can meet those standards, they are exceptionally rare. Such people are exceptionally rare. So there aren't infinite chances. Really, there are very, very few chances. But you know, there has been love for me on this trip. And that has been wonderful. And that certainly is something that I want to take with me, I guess, back to San Francisco, is love. So, yes. Again, I think where I'm at right now, as I contemplate my return home, it's a place in which I'm trying not to dwell on the past, nor to set concrete expectations for the future, but, you know, to live in this moment that I have right now, a moment that I might be able to inhabit more authentically than I've been able to inhabit moments in the past, and to be thankful for that, because that is something to be very thankful for. So I guess that's going to do it for me from Thailand. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing in this journey with me. And I will see you on the flip side. Make love, y'all.